Hey everyone, it's me, Claire. If you've ever been told your passion isn't good enough by the one person who is supposed to lift you up, especially in front of the whole world, then buckle up. This is my revenge recall. How I survived a marriage where my Michelin-star chef husband constantly mocked my lack of taste, quietly walked away with our little boy, rebuilt a career in the same industry that once crushed me, and years later came back to judge the national cooking competition he proudly sponsored. I was 30 when I finally left, but let me take you back to the beginning. I met Ethan when I was 24. I was a line cook in a tiny neighborhood bistro, obsessed with flavors, experimenting with herbs from my tiny balcony garden, dreaming of my own place one day. He was already the hot young chef everyone talked about, executive chef at a high-end downtown restaurant, TV guest spots, magazine features. He came in one night after service, ate my special that evening, and told the owner, "Whoever made this risotto understands comfort food better than most fine dining chefs I know." That was me. He asked to meet me, charmed me with stories of Paris stages and future plans. We started dating, and it felt like a dream. Within a year, we were married in a beautiful vineyard ceremony. I helped him open his first solo restaurant. I was there until midnight tasting sauces, suggesting tweaks, balancing flavors when he was stuck. When our son Leo was born, Ethan's star kept rising. He got the Michelin star. The restaurant became impossible to book. He was on morning shows, cooking segments, panel discussions. And I was the proud wife cheering from home, raising Leo, still creating recipes in our kitchen. But slowly, the narrative changed. On talk shows, he'd laugh and say, "Claire keeps me grounded. She's the home cook who reminds me real people don't eat foam and gels every night." The audience chuckled. It sounded sweet. Then it became, "My wife tries, bless her, but she still thinks ketchup belongs on steak." More laughter. Bigger audiences. I smiled on camera when I was in the frame, but inside I started doubting myself. Was my palate really that basic? At home it was worse. If I cooked dinner, he'd taste it, make a face, and say, "It's fine, babe, but it's missing depth. You just don't have the training." He'd redo the dish his way, plate it beautifully, post it with "saved dinner tonight." Followers loved it. I stopped cooking for us. He controlled the kitchen completely, even grocery lists. "You don't need to shop anymore. My suppliers send the best." My confidence in the one thing I loved vanished. My closest friend Sophia had been his sommelier since the restaurant opened. Stunning, knowledgeable, always at tastings with him. I trusted her. She'd come over, drink wine with me while Ethan worked late, tell me, "He's just passionate, Claire. It's the chef life." But I wasn't blind. The late nights turned into overnight menu development sessions. The way she knew details about trips I wasn't invited on. One evening I picked up his phone to check Leo's bedtime photo he'd sent me and saw their chat. "Ethan, you understand flavor like no one else." "Sophia, because I'm not afraid to be bold unlike some people." Then a photo of them clinking glasses in the wine cellar after closing. My heart sank. I waited until he came home that night. "Ethan, are you sleeping with Sophia?" He didn't even look surprised. Just sighed, like I was exhausting. "Claire, you're tired. You're imagining things. Sophia and I are professionals exploring pairings. You wouldn't understand the level we're working at. But the messages. You're reading into it. Honestly, sometimes I wonder if you even appreciate what I've built." He kissed my forehead like I was a child. "Go to sleep." I wanted to scream, but Leo was asleep down the hall. So I swallowed it. Again. The final straw came at the James Beard Awards after party, the biggest night of his career. He'd just won Outstanding Chef. Cameras everywhere. On the red carpet, the interviewer asked, "Ethan, who inspires your food the most?" He smiled that perfect smile, arm around me. "My wife Claire keeps it real. She's the one who still burns toast, reminds me not everyone has refined taste." Laughter from the crowd. Flashes. The clip went viral the next day. Millions of views. Comments like, "Poor guy married a basic cook," and "Goals, but make it relatable." I stood there smiling while my soul cracked. That night, while he celebrated with the team, I went home, packed 2 suitcases, took Leo, and left a simple note on the counter. I'm taking my taste somewhere it's appreciated. I drove through the night to my sister's place, 3 states away. No plan, just freedom. The first few years after leaving were pure survival mode. Leo was only 4, confused about why we weren't going home to Daddy's big kitchen anymore. I crashed on my sister's couch in a completely different state, took night shifts as a prep cook in a diner just to pay for daycare, and cried in the car between jobs. But even in those exhausted moments, I cooked. Simple things, soups from whatever was on sale, baked goods for Leo's lunchbox. I started photographing them on my cracked phone, posting on a new Instagram with the caption "Real food for real life." No Michelin stars required. People responded. Moms, shift workers, beginners who felt intimidated by fancy cooking shows. Finally, someone who gets that dinner doesn't have to be perfect, they wrote. Followers grew slowly, but steadily. A small spice brand sent free samples for an honest review. Then a cookware company offered a paid post. I said yes to every opportunity that let me stay home with Leo more. By the time Leo turned 7, I had 500,000 followers. I self-published a little ebook called Weeknight Wins, 30 recipes under 30 minutes with pantry staples. It hit #1 in its category on Amazon. Publishers noticed. A major house offered a real cookbook deal. Home Taste came out 2 years later. Beautiful photos, heartfelt stories, recipes that felt like hugs on a plate. It became a New York Times bestseller. Cooking shows invited me on not as the wife of, but as Claire, the author, the voice for approachable food. I opened a tiny cafe in our new town called Everyday Flavor. Nothing fancy, cozy booths, seasonal menu, kids eat free on Tuesdays. It became the heart of the neighborhood. We expanded to 3 locations. I hired single moms, paid fair wages, played good music. Life wasn't just stable anymore, it was joyful. Leo thrived, started helping me test recipes, proudly telling his friends, "My mom wrote cookbooks." Meanwhile, I kept tabs on Ethan from a distance. His restaurant kept the star, opened a second location, landed a Netflix special. He and Sophia got married in a lavish ceremony covered by food magazines, all crystal glasses and elaborate tasting menus. He posted about being a family man on the rare weekends he flew Leo out, pictures of them in chef hats that got thousands of likes. Sophia became his on-screen partner, the glamorous sommelier completing the power couple image. Comments called them food royalty. I never badmouthed him publicly. Co-parenting stayed civil, drop-offs at neutral spots, polite emails about school events. I focused on building, not tearing down. Then the invitation arrived. The National Culinary Excellence Awards, the biggest televised competition in the country, watched by millions. They were launching a new Home Cook Hero category to balance the fine dining focus, and they wanted me as lead judge for that segment. The host committee gushed, "Your voice represents the future of food, accessible, heartfelt, real." I almost laughed when I saw the sponsor list. Top billing, Ethan's restaurant group. His face was on the promotional posters, listed as executive producer and host of the professional category. He was going to be on stage the whole weekend, handing out trophies, giving speeches about elevating the industry. My first instinct was to decline. But then I thought about every time he dismissed my food, every laugh from an audience at my expense, every doubt he'd planted. And I thought about the women who wrote to me saying they'd started cooking again because of my book. I accepted. The months leading up were intense. My team and I planned judging criteria focused on flavor, creativity, and story, not just technique. I practiced staying neutral, warm, encouraging. But I also prepared for the moment I knew would come, seeing him again under those bright lights, with the whole food world watching. The competition weekend arrived. I flew in with Leo, who is now 10 and beyond excited to see the big studios. We checked into the hotel under my name only. The first night was the welcome gala. I walked the red carpet in a simple emerald dress, hair down, feeling calm. Cameras flashed. Reporters asked about my new book tour. Then Ethan appeared, tall, still handsome in his tailored suit, Sophia on his arm in shimmering gold. He spotted me across the room. That famous smile stayed in place, but his eyes flickered. He walked over, air-kissing both cheeks like we were old colleagues.
Claire. Wow.
Judging now? Big leap from home cooking. I smiled back. It's amazing what happens when you trust your own taste. Sophia hugged me a beat too late. We're all so proud. The tension was delicious. He leaned in, voice low. Let's keep things professional this weekend, yeah? For Leo. Of course, I said. I always do. The real show was about to start. The competition days felt like walking through fire with a smile plastered on my face. Every time I caught sight of Ethan under those blazing studio lights, commanding the room, tossing his perfect lines, soaking up the applause, my chest tightened so hard I could barely breathe. The old wounds ripped open, every mocking laugh from an audience, every dismissive "it's missing depth" over my home-cooked meals, every time he made me feel like my love for food was childish next to his genius. I'd lie awake in the hotel room, heart pounding, tears soaking the pillow while Leo slept peacefully beside me. But I refused to let it show. Not here.
Not now.
Judging the home cook hero category was my oxygen. Tasting those dishes, a grandmother's curry thick with memories, a single dad's mac and cheese that made me choke up on camera, it reminded me why I'd fought so hard. These people cooked with soul, the way I always had. And when that young mom won, the one who'd raised 3 kids alone and still found time to perfect her mango cheesecake, I stood and hugged her so tightly my own hands shook. The roar from the crowd washed over me like a wave, and for the first time in years, the tears in my eyes were proud ones. Then came the professional round. Sitting next to Ethan at the judges' table felt surreal, his cologne hitting me like a memory I wanted to burn. He critiqued with that familiar arrogance. Bold, but lacking refinement. Innovative, yet missing soul. The same words he'd once used on me, now weaponized for television. My stomach churned. I gripped the edge of the table under the cloth, nails digging into my palms, forcing my face to stay calm. The final dish. The scores. The host turning to me. My heart slammed against my ribs. This was it. I leaned into the microphone, and the second I started speaking, something inside me broke wide open. Not into rage, but into a fierce, white-hot clarity that made my voice tremble at first, then steady into steel. This has been an incredible night celebrating food in every form. But I need to talk about authenticity because for too long I've carried the weight of a lie that was told about me on stages just like this one. The studio went deathly silent. I felt thousands of eyes on me, but I only saw Ethan's face draining of color beside me. I was married to the man sitting next to me. I helped build his first restaurant, stayed up until dawn tasting sauces, balancing seasons, pouring every ounce of my heart into his dream. And in return, he stood on national television, in magazines, at award shows, and laughed about how I burnt toast, how I didn't understand flavor, how my taste was something to joke about so he could look superior. My voice cracked hard on that last word. Tears welled up, but I didn't blink them away. I let them fall. I let those words shrink me. I stopped cooking for my own family because I started believing I wasn't good enough. I smiled in photos while dying inside because that's what you do when the person you love needs you small to feel big. I turned fully toward him now. The cameras followed. The whole country was watching. But I left. I took our son and walked away with nothing but suitcases and shattered confidence. And from that nothing, I built everything you see now because my food, my simple food, comes from love. Real love, not performance. The tears were streaming now, but my voice stayed strong, louder, raw. True excellence doesn't mock someone else's passion. It doesn't need to stand on anyone's back to reach the top. And tonight, watching these home cooks pour their hearts into every plate, I finally feel free of the lie you sold the world. The audience exploded, a standing ovation that shook the studio floors. People were crying openly in the front rows. Cheers turned into chants of my name. My cookbook title flashed on the big screen behind me as clips of the moment spread like wildfire across social media. Ethan tried to speak when the noise died down, that forced laugh cracking. Well, everyone, Emotions clearly run high in live television. But the host cut him off smoothly and went to commercial. Backstage, he cornered me, face twisted with fury and panic. "Claire, you just destroyed me on national TV. How could you?" The tears were still wet on my cheeks, but I felt lighter than I had in a decade. "No, Ethan," I said, voice low and steady. "You destroyed me years ago, one joke at a time. Tonight, I just stopped letting you." I walked away while he stood there speechless, Sophia rushing to his side as whispers turned to stares around them. As confetti rained down for the final winner, the home cook who'd beaten the pros in the People's Choice vote, I held Leo's hand on stage, both of us grinning through happy tears. That night, something inside me finally healed. The comeback wasn't just sweet. It was searing, unforgettable, and entirely mine. The weeks after the finale felt like waking up from a long, suffocating nightmare into bright morning light. The clip of my speech spread everywhere: morning shows, podcasts, late-night monologues. Hashtag Home Taste Wins stayed trending for days. My cookbook shot back to #1. Messages flooded in, thousands of women sharing how they'd finally started cooking again, how they'd left partners who made them feel small, how they cried watching me cry on that stage because it felt like their own pain finally had a voice. Ethan's world unraveled fast. Sponsors pulled out. The Netflix special got quietly shelved. Reservations at his restaurants dropped so sharply he had to close one location. Food critics revisited old reviews, suddenly questioning if the genius had been propped up by diminishing everyone around him. Sophia deleted her social media. Their perfect wedding photos vanished overnight. He called me once, voicemail late at night, sounding drunk and broken. "Claire, you won. Happy now? My name is ruined. People look at me like I'm some monster. Leo asks why everyone's mad at Daddy. How could you do this to us?" I listened to the whole thing, heart racing, tears burning again. For a split second, the old guilt crept in, the one he'd trained me to feel. Then I looked across the kitchen at Leo, 10 years old, carefully piping frosting on cupcakes for his school bake sale, humming happily. Our home smelled like vanilla and cinnamon. Laughter echoed from the cafe downstairs where customers lingered because it felt warm, not intimidating. I deleted the message and never called back. Instead, I posted a short video the next morning, me at my kitchen counter, wiping tears but smiling through them. To everyone who's messaged me, thank you. This wasn't about destroying anyone. It was about refusing to carry the shame he tried to put on me anymore. If you're watching this and you're still shrinking yourself to make someone else comfortable, stop. Your flavor matters. Your heart matters. You are enough exactly as you are. It got millions of views. Women sent photos of their first meals cooked without fear. Restaurants named dishes after me. I launched a foundation giving grants to single moms starting food businesses. Years have passed now. Leo's a teenager, tall and kind, helping me run the cafes on weekends, already experimenting with his own recipes. My next cookbook is about healing through food. Every chapter starts with a story from someone who wrote to me after that night. We travel for book tours, mother and son, laughing in airports, tasting street food in new cities. Life is rich, messy, delicious. Ethan moved away, opened a small consulting firm, stays out of the spotlight. He sees Leo when schedules align, quiet visits, no cameras. The power he once held over me is gone, dissolved like sugar in hot tea. Sometimes people still ask, do you regret going so raw on live TV? Was the revenge worth it? I always answer the same. It wasn't revenge. It was release. I finally stopped letting his voice be louder than mine in my own story. And the second I did, I tasted freedom, and it was the most exquisite thing I've ever known. If you're still in the part where you're smiling while someone chips away at your confidence, where you're questioning your own worth, hear me. You can leave quietly. You can rebuild slowly. You can come back when you're ready, not swinging, just standing in your truth. And when you do, the whole world will taste how incredible you've always been. That's my recall. Not bitter. Not vengeful. Just perfectly seasoned, finally served exactly the way I meant it. Thank you for listening. If this hit home, Share your own flavor in the comments. You never know who needs to taste a little courage today. See you in the next one.